Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. They mocked the small human fleet until it obliterated their armada. The underestimation Grand Admiral Vexnar of the Galactic Coalition stood on the command deck of his flagship, the Eternal Dominance. His four-fingered hands clasped behind his back as he surveyed the holographic display, his scaled skin shimmering under the blue glow of the tactical readouts, eyes narrowing to slits as he studied the approaching vessels. "Is this some kind of joke?" he finally asked, turning to his second-in-command, Commander Felara. "See, 7 ships. The humans sent 7 ships to meet the might of the Coalition." Felara, her feathered crest bristling with barely concealed amusement, zoomed in on the lead human vessel. It was sleek but small, with what appeared to be outdated propulsion systems and minimal weapon ports. "Our intelligence reports suggest this is a significant portion of their interstellar fleet, Admiral," she replied. "Their technology appears centuries behind ours. Those propulsion signatures show conventional fusion drives, and their whole composition is basic titanium alloy composite." Vexnar snorted, a sound that rippled through his breathing slits. "And they wish to negotiate entry into Coalition space." With this, he gestured dismissively at the display. "The smallest provincial defense force in our territory fields at least 60 warships." The bridge crew, representing 12 of the Coalition's 17 member species, shared knowing glances. The Coalition had ruled this sector of the galaxy for over 3 centuries, absorbing or subjugating all species they encountered. None had ever posed a significant challenge to their military supremacy. "Perhaps we should hear them out, Admiral," suggested Science Officer Carroll, a methane-breathing Olari whose environmental suit hung softly as he approached. "Our preliminary analysis of their communication technology shows unusual sophistication. Their translation matrices are flawless, unusual for first contact." Vexnar waved a dismissive hand. "A single advanced system doesn't make them worthy of respect. Krellel, prepare for their delegation. Let's see what these primitives have to say." The observation deck had been prepared for the diplomatic meeting with minimal ceremony. The Coalition didn't believe in wasting resources on species that hadn't yet proven their value. The human delegation, 5 representatives in simple blue uniforms with minimal decorations, was escorted in by Coalition security drones. Their lack of ornate dress was another sign of their apparent lack of sophistication in Vexnar's eyes. The human ambassador stepped forward. She was of average height for a human, with dark skin and calm eyes that betrayed no emotion. Despite the barely hidden disdain from the Coalition representatives, she maintained a dignified posture. "Grand Admiral Vexnar, I am Captain Alina Reyes of the Earth Alliance," she said with a slight bow. "We extend our hand in friendship and request safe passage through Coalition space to establish a trade route to the Century Arm." "Of course, Captain," replied Vexnar with a thin smile that didn't reach his eyes. "The Coalition welcomes all species, no matter how modest their capabilities." Captain Reyes showed no reaction to the obvious condescension. "We understand our position as newcomers to galactic society. We simply wish to learn and trade peacefully." "Trade?" asked Commander Felara, her crest flaring with poorly disguised amusement. "And what exactly does your species offer the Coalition?" One of the human delegates, a quiet man with silver-streaked hair, stepped forward with a small container. "Perhaps this might be of interest," he said, opening it to reveal a small crystal that pulsed with an internal blue light. Science Officer Krellel moved closer, his scanner hovering over the object. His eyes widened slightly behind his environmental mask. "It appears to be a compressed energy source, quite efficient, actually," he said, a note of surprise evident in his voice. Vexnar glanced at the readings and shrugged. "An interesting trinket. Our scientists might find it worthy of study." He gestured to an aide who took the container and placed it on a nearby examination table. "We have prepared quarters for your delegation during your visit," Vexnar continued, his tone dismissive. "My aide will show you to your accommodations. We will continue formal discussions tomorrow." Captain Reyes bowed again. "We appreciate your hospitality, Admiral." As the humans departed, escorted by Coalition security, Commander Thilara whispered to Vexnar, "Did you see their antiquated communication devices? It's like watching children playing with toys. Indeed, Vexnar replied, watching the humans exit. Though I must admit, there's something unusual about them. They seem overly confident for a species with such limited capabilities. Ignorance breeds confidence, Falera added with a slight smirk. They probably don't understand how insignificant they truly are. Later that evening, Science Officer Krellel requested a private meeting with Admiral Vexnar. His face was unusually serious as he entered the Admiral's quarters. "Sir, I've completed my analysis of the human crystal," he said, placing a data pad on the desk. And, Vexnar asked, barely interested, "It's unlike anything we've encountered. The energy density is remarkable, at least 5 times more efficient than our best power sources, and the crystalline structure suggests it's not naturally occurring." "They engineered this," Vexnar frowned, picking up the pad. "That can't be right. Their ships show no signs of such advanced technology. That's what concerns me," Krellel replied. "Either our readings of their ships are incorrect or they're hiding their true capabilities." Vexnar finished suddenly more alert. Aboard the lead human vessel, now docked at the Coalition station, Captain Reyes met with her team in a secured chamber that blocked all known forms of surveillance. "Assessment?" she asked simply. Lieutenant Commander Sanjay Mehta, the science officer who had presented the crystal, smiled slightly. "They underestimate us completely. As expected, their scans didn't penetrate our hull shielding. They believe our ships are primitive and the crystal," asked a calculated risk, Captain Reyes interjected, "but necessary to establish our value as potential trading partners. They detected only its basic properties. The quantum computational aspects remained hidden." The tactical officer, Major Jang, looked less pleased. "Their fleet is substantial, 23 capital ships, over 300 support vessels. Their weapon systems are, as our probes indicated, powerful but predictable." Captain Reyes nodded, processing this information. "And their defenses against our specialized capabilities?" "Non-existent," confirmed Mehta. "They have no countermeasures for our neural targeting systems or quantum weaponry. They don't even seem aware such technologies are possible." "Reyes, walk to the viewport," ordered Captain Reyes, watching Coalition personnel moving about the docking bay. "Remember our mission. We observe, we learn, we avoid conflict if possible. The 7 ships in our exploratory fleet are more than capable of defending themselves, but we are not here to start a war. And if they start one?" asked Jean quietly. Captain Reyes turned from the viewport, her expression calm but resolute. "Then they will quickly learn that humanity's appearance of weakness is its greatest deception." What none of the Coalition leaders realized was that the 7 ships represented merely an exploratory vanguard, carefully designed to conceal the true extent of human technological advancement. A civilization that had learned, through centuries of its own bloody history, to appear small until it was too late for their opponents to realize their mistake. The emergency council meeting of the Coalition High Command had been going on for 3 hours. Tempers were rising. Most leaders were frustrated by the humans' continued presence in their space. The 7 small ships had not left after the initial diplomatic meeting. Instead, they had established a temporary outpost on an uninhabited moon near the border. "These humans need to understand their place in the galactic hierarchy," insisted Fleet Commander Zorn, slamming his fist on the polished table. "A minor demonstration of our power should suffice." Admiral Vexnar looked less certain. "The energy crystal they provided showed unexpected technological advancement. Perhaps we should proceed with caution. One advanced energy source doesn't make them a threat." Commander Falera accounted. "Their ships remain primitive, their weapon systems are basic. We detected no shield harmonics above level 3. Science Officer Krellel cleared his throat nervously. "I'm not entirely convinced our scans were accurate. Some readings were inconsistent." Fleet Commander Zorn stood up, his tall figure casting a shadow across the table. "This hesitation is unbecoming of the Coalition. Since when do we fear 7 tiny vessels?" After further heated debate, a compromise was reached. The Coalition would conduct a routine inspection of the human outpost. This would demonstrate authority while avoiding direct confrontation. 2 days later, 5 coalition cruisers, each 20 times the size of the human vessels, took position near the human outpost. Their sensors detected activity around the third human ship, the Swift Horizon. Captain Drex commanded the lead cruiser, the Unyielding Dominion. "Target acquired," his tactical officer reported. "It appears to be conducting some sort of survey operation, minimal defenses detected." Drex smiled confidently. "Perfect move to intercept pattern. Let's show these primitives how the galaxy really works." The 5 massive cruisers moved with practiced precision, their engines glowing bright against the darkness of space. They arranged themselves in a pentagonal formation around the human vessel. Captain Drex transmitted his voice, dripping with authority. "This is Captain Drex of the Coalition vessel Unyielding Dominion. Prepare to be boarded for routine inspection." There was a brief pause before a response came. The holographic display showed a man with calm eyes and silver-streaked hair in a simple blue uniform, the same scientist who had presented the crystal. "Coalition vessel, this is Lieutenant Commander Meta of the Swift Horizon. We acknowledge your request, but must inform you that boarding without prior diplomatic agreement violates interstellar convention." Captain Drex was surprised by the perfect translation and the man's composed demeanor. He had expected fear or at least nervousness. "Conventional rules apply to conventional powers," Drex sneered, nodding to his tactical officer. "Prepare boarding teams, target their engine systems. I don't want them running." "Yes, Captain," the tactical officer replied, entering commands into his console. Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. The tactical display showed small objects deploying from the human vessel at incredible speed. "What are those?" Drex demanded. "Unknown devices too small for weapons," the tactical officer responded, confusion evident in his voice. "They appear to be drones, but the energy signature is—" Before he could finish, the lights on the bridge flickered. The tactical display went dark, then returned showing only basic functions. "Weapon systems are offline," shouted the tactical officer. "Targeting arrays disabled." "Impossible," whispered Drex, staring at his useless console. "Their technology shouldn't be capable of this." Similar reports came in from the other 4 cruisers. All 5 coalition vessels had lost weapons capability simultaneously, though life support and propulsion remained functional. Lieutenant Commander Meta's image appeared again on the still-functioning communication system. His expression remained calm, almost sympathetic. "Coalition vessels, this is Lieutenant Commander Meta. We have temporarily disabled your offensive capabilities. No permanent damage has been done. We request you withdraw and address future concerns through diplomatic channels." At the revelation, Grand Admiral Vexnar stood rigid before the Coalition Security Council, 17 representatives of the member species arranged in a semicircle above him. The chamber, designed to intimidate those called to account, felt suffocating. "Today, explain how 5 of our most advanced cruisers were rendered combat ineffective by a single human vessel," demanded High Counselor Mox, the eldest representative of the founding Ardorian species. Vexnar's scales had lost their usual luster. The human ship deployed what appear to be quantum-entangled disruptor drones. They targeted specific frequencies in our defensive systems that we were not aware existed. "You were not aware, Counselor Trelver of the Pharanics Collective," Mox interjected. "Hist, your job is precisely to be aware, Admiral." Science Officer Carroll, standing beside Vexnar, stepped forward. "If I may, counselors, the human technology operates on principles we haven't encountered before. Their apparent simplicity was a deception. The whole configurations we scanned were false readings, projected images hiding their true capabilities." Murmurs rippled through the council chamber. High Counselor Mox leaned forward, his ancient face grave. "You believe this was intentional, that they came here to test us?" "Yes," Krello replied simply, "and we failed that test." The chamber erupted in angry shouts and demands. Vexnar remained silent, his mind racing through the implications. The humans had deliberately presented themselves as technologically inferior. Why? To what end? When order was finally restored, Fleet Commander Zorn spoke, his voice hard with suppressed rage. "This humiliation cannot stand. I propose immediate military action, a full battle group to neutralize the human presence in our territory, and risk escalation with a species whose capabilities we clearly don't understand. Countered Admiral Vexnar, we should proceed cautiously, gather more intelligence. Your caution has already cost us our pride, Admiral Zorn replied coldly. Next, it will cost us our security. After hours of debate, the Council reached a decision. A demonstration of coalition power was deemed necessary, but with restraint. Zorn was authorized to deploy 15 warships to surround the human outpost and demand their immediate withdrawal from coalition space. Direct engagement was to be avoided unless the humans resisted. Zorn's satisfaction was poorly concealed as he left the chamber. Vexnar lingered behind, approaching High Counselor Mox privately. "Counselor, I believe we are making a grave error," he said quietly. "Something about these humans, they're too confident, too prepared." Mox studied Vexnar thoughtfully. "You think they want us to attack?" "I think they're counting on it," Vexnar replied. Aboard the human command ship Defiant, Captain Reyes received the transmission from her outpost. Coalition forces assembling, 15 capital ships, support craft deploying, estimated arrival at our position in 3 hours. Reyes nodded unsurprised. "It seems they've chosen the hard way. Alert all vessels, activate Protocol Omega." "Are you certain, Captain?" asked Commander Ushikawa, her first officer. "Once initiated, there's no going back." "They need to understand," Reyes replied firmly. "Better a short, decisive demonstration than a prolonged conflict." Throughout the 7 human vessels, crews moved with practiced efficiency. Systems previously dormant hummed to life. Hull configurations shifted, revealing weapon ports and sensor arrays that had remained hidden. The ships themselves seemed to transform their true nature, emerging from beneath the camouflage they had maintained. When Fleet Commander Zorn's battle group emerged from faster-than-light travel, the sensor readings caused immediate confusion on the command deck of his flagship, the Righteous Fury. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "I'm getting anomalous readings from the human vessels. Their energy signatures have changed." Zorn dismissed the concern with a wave. "Electronic countermeasures, nothing more." Open communications. Captain Rey's image appeared on the main screen, her calm demeanor unchanged despite the overwhelming odds facing her small fleet, the human outpost. Zorn announced, not bothering to hide his satisfaction, "This is Fleet Commander Zorn of the Coalition Battle Group Righteous Fury. You have violated Coalition sovereignty. You will power down your vessels and prepare for escort out of our territory." Captain Rey's response was measured. "Commander Zorn, we respectfully decline. We have committed no violation and hold authorization for scientific survey under Galactic Convention, Article 7. Zorn's surprise at her knowledge of interstellar law was quickly replaced by anger. "Your primitive fleet stands no chance against our might. You have 10 minutes to reconsider before we open fire." As the communication ended, Zorn turned to his officers. "Prepare all weapons. Target their engines first. I want their ships intact for study." "Sir," his sensor officer interrupted, "I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from the human vessels. They appear to be activating systems we haven't seen before." "Of course they are," Zorn replied dismissively. "Desperate measures, it won't help them." The 10 minutes passed quickly. When the humans made no move to surrender, Zorn gave the order. "All ships commence attack." What followed was unlike anything recorded in 3 centuries of coalition military history. The human vessels moved with impossible speed and precision, their formation shifting fluidly to avoid the first volley of coalition energy weapons. Return fire came not as expected energy beams, but as pinpoint projectiles that bypassed coalition shields completely, striking with surgical precision at weapon installations and propulsion systems. "Impossible," shouted Zorn's tactical officer. "Their targeting systems are ignoring our shield frequencies. How can they quantum lock targeting?" interjected the science officer, his voice filled with disbelief. "They're using entangled particles to bypass conventional defenses." 3 coalition ships were already disabled, drifting powerless. The human vessels moved between them with bewildering maneuverability, their engines leaving no traditional exhaust signature. "All ships, evasive pattern Theta," Zorn commanded, watching in horror as two more coalition cruisers reported critical systems failures. The human ships now arranged themselves in a perfect sphere around the remaining coalition vessels. From each ship emerged swarms of the same drones that had disabled the inspection cruisers days earlier. "Brace for impact," Zorn shouted, but the expected attack never came. Instead, every communication system across the coalition battle group activated simultaneously. Captain Ray's face appeared on every screen, her expression not triumphant but somber. "Commander Zorn, this demonstration is concluded. 8 of your 15 vessels are combat ineffective, the remainder are surrounded. We could disable your entire fleet, but that is not our purpose here." Zorn's face flushed with rage and embarrassment. We dare to defend ourselves." "Rise," interrupted Captain Ray's firmly, "but we prefer cooperation to conflict. Humanity has survived its own violent history by learning when to show strength and when to show restraint. Today, we choose restraint." In the Coalition Security Council chamber, the live feed from the battle had left the assembled representatives in stunned silence. High Counselor Mox finally broke the quiet. "Admiral Vexnar, your assessment." Vexnar's expression was grim but resigned. "The humans possess technology at least 2 centuries beyond our own. Their ship's true capabilities were concealed from our sensors. They could have destroyed Zorn's entire fleet, but chose not to." "A message," murmured Counselor Trelva. "They're sending us a message." "Yes," agreed Vexnar, "that they are not to be underestimated, but also that they prefer peace to war. I recommend immediate diplomatic negotiations at the highest level." 3 days later, in the same council chamber where Vexnar had faced condemnation, Captain Ray's now stood before the Coalition Security Council. Instead of judgment, there was cautious respect in the eyes of the assembled representatives. "The Earth Alliance extends its sincere desire for peaceful relations with the Galactic Coalition," she began. "What happened was regrettable but necessary to establish mutual understanding." High Counselor Mox nodded slowly. "Understanding indeed, Captain Ray's. You have certainly captured our attention, but I must ask, why the deception? Why present yourselves as technologically inferior?" Ray's smiled slightly. "Humanity has learned through bitter experience that appearing too advanced too quickly often triggers fear rather than cooperation. We wish to be judged by our character and intentions, not merely our capabilities." "And those intentions are," prompted Counselor Trelva, "to join the galactic community as equals. To trade, to learn, to share knowledge. Humanity does not seek dominion or conquest. We've evolved beyond such primitive instincts," replied Captain Ray's. Admiral Vexnar, standing to the side of the chamber, studied the human captain with newfound respect. "Your restraint in battle was impressive, Captain. You could have destroyed our ships, yet you chose minimal force." "War is easy," Captain Ray's responded. "Peace is the greater challenge. We would rather face that challenge together than separately." In the months that followed, understanding between humans and the coalition grew. The initial treaty of cooperation expanded into cultural exchanges, scientific collaboration, and joint defense initiatives. The 17-member species of the coalition discovered that humanity's adaptability and innovative thinking complemented their own established traditions and methodologies. Admiral Vexnar, appointed as the coalition's primary liaison to the Earth Alliance, stood with Captain Ray's on the observation deck of the newly constructed Joint Command Station at the border between their territories. "You know," he said reflectively, watching coalition and human ships patrolling together, "there's an old saying among my people, never judge a species by the size of their fleet but by how they use it." Ray's smiled. "We have a similar saying on Earth. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog." Vexnar's translator paused at the unfamiliar Earth animal reference, but he nodded in understanding. "A lesson the coalition needed to learn." "It seems," replied Ray's, "a lesson all species learn eventually. That true power lies not in domination, but in cooperation, not in force, but in wisdom," concluded Captain Ray's. As they spoke, a new vessel approached the station. The first of its kind, a ship designed and built jointly by human and coalition engineers, incorporating the best technologies of both civilizations. Its name was emblazoned in both coalition symbols and human letters, translated in all languages to the same meaning: new understanding.